If you have never used a prayer journal, I am going to talk about why it's important to use one, tell you my personal experience using one, and show you the one that I use daily. So I use one that you can find on Amazon without my little daughter's sticky fingerprints on it. But it's called Going Through Trials with God Prayer Journal. I'll link it in the description. It's on Amazon. And, it's important to use a prayer journal because, number one, it helps you to deepen your relationship with the Lord. And it helps you to look back and remember all that He has done for you. So this is especially important for, those difficult days where it may seem like God isn't listening to your prayers, or, you just need a mood booster, really, by realizing that He's already done so much in your life and He will continue to do so. So it helps strengthen your belief in God, hearing, that He hears you when you talk to Him. And so number two, if you find yourself having a difficult time paying attention during prayer or knowing what to pray, I've found that when writing it out, it helps, at least me, stay focused and not get distracted during prayer time. And for the times, during prayer when you may get distracted thinking, oh, I need to add this to my to-do list, but I can't because I'm in the middle of praying. So there's a spot in here in this journal for that. And so what I do is I just jot it down and then I get back to what I was praying about. And so number three, keeping a prayer journal can make prayer a habit for you. So writing out journals, writing out your journal entries, it's not difficult, and it can become a habit and help you stay more consistent when you're writing it down every day. So number four, writing things out can help you leave it there and forget it. So if you struggle with anxiety, worry, fear, then writing things out, your feelings out about that, can help you take it off your shoulders, and talking to God about it and surrendering it and leaving it with Him, for Him to carry for you. So now I'll talk more about my personal experiences with using a prayer journal for years. I haven't used this one for years, but I used to just use a regular notebook and jot down my prayers. This helps you stay much more organized. I'll show it to you real quick. So you have your daily journal entries where you can write down the desires of your heart. You can have a prayer focus, and then people to pray for, what you're thankful for, and answered prayers. Because sometimes I forget that every day you can find something to write down under answer prayer, even if that's just your child slept through the night or, whatever it is. There's always something to realize that God answered the prayer that you were praying about your kid sleeping through the night and stuff like that. But also it has, this cool area for weekly to-do list. And so that's included because you need to be praying over your to-do list. And that's an important part of keeping a prayer journal, is seeing you've made progress and God helped you to make that progress, and to rejoice over it, and to ask God to guide you through all of these things, and to lead you, and to help you to know and to discern where you should be spending your time. And let God help you write your to-do list, because He knows what you need to be doing and what's most important for you that day. Okay, so my personal experience with a prayer journal goes back to, I started it when my daughter was shaken. She suffered from shaken baby syndrome at 3 months old. So I went through all of this, very stressful time, and where I had to learn to be completely and fully dependent on God. And so I just started writing down my prayers because I couldn't remember anything during that time. I was going through so much trauma. So maybe you're going through a traumatic situation, and it's going to help you to look back and remember what actually happened, because your brain is just, on high alert and just stressed out all the time when you're going through something, that you may just forget everything that you went through or were praying for. So I'm very thankful that during that time I kept a prayer journal, even though it was just in a regular notebook, so that I could look back and see what God actually did during that time and what I was actually praying about, because I have forgotten, because my brain reacts to trauma by just kind of erasing that moment in time, I guess. So I kept a prayer journal. I tried to do it daily, but anything I could think of, and even when I couldn't pray, I would just open up my journal and put, Lord, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Help me. And I look back at those now and think, that poor woman. Like, she was so strong. She relied on God, and he really showed up for her. And then a few days after that kind of prayer, I would go back and look and see that I wrote down that God showed up for me in that moment. And so it's just like, wow, he really did show up for me. And then I can look back, even now, when I look back at those prayer journals, I'm like, wow, God really did that. And if I'm struggling with something in the moment, now I will look back and think, he did it then, he's going to do it again. I have proof in these journals that he showed up, and he's going to do it again. And so that's always been very helpful for me. And I kept a very specific prayer journal as a single mom praying for a spouse. And when I first met my current spouse, Canyon, I knew that I wanted Canyon to be my husband. I heard God say that Canyon was going to be my husband one day, but nothing in the physical realm in front of me looked like Canyon was ever going to be my husband, because he wasn't even interested in me. And so, but I knew that I wanted his character, and I knew that God was calling me to him, and that one day that I would marry him. And so I kept a prayer journal of prayers, nothing else except my future husband. And a lot of that, had Canyon in it. And I look back now and think, wow, I had so much faith, even though there was nothing in the physical realm that, showed me that was ever going to actually happen. But because I believed it and had faith in it, I eventually received it. And Canyon is now my husband, and we're very happy together. And so it's just a blessing now. And I might even pass it down to my kids one day, to look back and see that for, a year, 2 years, I kept this prayer journal. And it helps me to remind myself, you can have full faith in something, even if you don't see it in the physical realm yet, and it will come to pass. And so if it's in God's will, it will come to pass if it's from God. And even if you have to wait for 2 years, which doesn't sound like a lot to some, but for me, that was a long time to be single and to wait on somebody and to wait on God to allow him to come into my life, and to send him to me. So that's my personal experience with prayer journals. I really like this one. It's very helpful. It's very organized. I'm going to, this one's for 90 days. And so every 90 days, I'm going to have another one, and I'm going to keep them, in a spot that I can go back at any time. And I think I'm going to buy like a white marker and put the date on here, the dates that it is. That way, keep it on a bookshelf, and you can go back at any point in time and just go back to see that exact thing. And it's just very easy makes things easier to keep up with, because I have so many notebooks that I was writing down my prayers in, and it's just very disorganized, and it's hard to go back and really see, exactly when and where I was and all those kind of things. So if this was helpful, please share this video. If you know somebody who could benefit from this, get it for them as a gift. Share the link with them. I'll post the link in the description, and I will see you on the next video.